Good morning and happy Sunday. I've noticed something over the last few weeks. A lot of the questions coming in carry a similar weight. Different stories, different people, same quiet thread, and it keeps circling back to the distance in the same house. Not always loud or chaotic, but consistent enough that you start asking yourself, is this what life is going to feel like from here on out? Here's today's question. What happens when you've been married for years? You're sleeping in separate beds, you feel disconnected, but you're too comfortable to leave. That kind of honesty is brutal, and it's hard to admit out loud. There are a lot of us, me included, who've had seasons like this and can see ourselves somewhere in this question. So let me say this. If you're asking this, I don't think you're only asking about your spouse. I think you're asking about you, because there's a point where the question shifts from, why are they like this, to something harder. What am I doing with this? What's this doing to me? And then if we're honest, it can turn into, what did I do? Or even, why am I not enough? Disengagement almost never blows up overnight. It's more like you wake up one day and realize you've been living around the distance between you. Someone stops engaging at family gatherings. They sit in another room. The answers get shorter. Maybe therapy was tried, maybe nothing shifted. And over time, you start editing what you bring up, leaving certain things unsaid because you're tired of the look, the sigh, the shutdown. So you lower what you expect and call it peace, even though something in you feels smaller. But peace and shrinking aren't the same thing. And while you're staying, there's another shift people miss at first. Sometimes the real shift isn't only distance from your partner, it's distance from yourself. Because each time you talk yourself out of what hurts, your confidence erodes in ways you don't notice until you catch yourself apologizing for the needs you used to say out loud. If you feel your body tighten when you hear that, pause. Noticing this doesn't make you the problem. It means something in you has been trying to get your attention for a while. You can love someone and still feel alone with them. You can be loyal and still feel disconnected. And you can try for years and still reach a point where you realize you're the only one actively participating. Being alone isn't circumstance. Feeling alone next to someone you build a life with is something else entirely. And when you build a life around being the two of you against the world, even admitting something isn't working can feel like betraying the only team you've ever known. Before we go further, I need to say something clearly. If you're dealing with threats, violence, or control, that's not a rough patch. That's about safety, and you deserve outside help and protection. That means reaching beyond this relationship to someone safe. For everyone else living in the gray middle, this is where it gets complicated because your head starts negotiating with your own life. You tell yourself, it's not bad enough. Maybe other people have it worse. Maybe you made a promise you don't get to walk away from. All of that can be true, and you can still feel like you're fading inside the marriage. This is where ridiculously real mental health shows up, when you stop dressing it up and you tell the truth about what's happening inside you. And sometimes the real question isn't, how do I get them to engage? It's, what am I accepting? And what is that teaching the people watching us, our kids, our families, even ourselves? So let me ask it in a way that stays clear. Are you in a partnership? Or are you managing around someone who's checked out? That's not an accusation. It's a way of naming what you're living in. And I'm not trying to turn you against them. I'm trying to get you back on your own side. Because once you name it, you stop talking yourself out of what you already know. Now, I'm not saying this means divorce or confrontation tomorrow or blowing up your life. It does mean you stop acting like you don't notice what you've been living with. And here's something we don't talk about enough. Some of you feel like you've been trying and you're exhausted. Others of you hear this and realize you've been the one who's checked out and you hate who you've become in the distance. If you're the one who's checked out, this isn't a character flaw. It's often a sign you've been emotionally shut down for a long time. Either way, pretending doesn't help. So here's the part people avoid because it feels heavy, but it's also freeing. Staying is a choice. Leaving is a choice. And drifting has a cost too, even when nobody wants to call it a decision. That's where your power comes back. Because once you see it as a choice, you stop feeling trapped inside it. You don't have to solve everything today. You don't even have to defend your feelings. You're just telling the truth to yourself about where you are. So wherever you choose next, it isn't something you drifted into. So here's the interruption for this week. Before you answer, take a breath. This isn't about punishing yourself, it's about seeing clearly. And if you hear your own voice getting harsh, pull it back. This is about being honest, not beating yourself up. Ask yourself one question. Have I already adjusted to something I once said I never would? You don't have to answer out loud or decide today. You're just being honest about where you stand. This episode isn't telling you to leave, and it isn't telling you to stay. It's asking you to stop drifting through something that is shaping you every day. So whatever you choose next comes from awareness, not exhaustion, and you deserve to be awake in your own life. Thank you for this question. Naming that takes courage. If you want to share your question, you can email me at drshannon@kfvs12.com. And always remember, you are worth it. Lean into being the best version of yourself, one small step at a time. Happy Sunday.